Good afternoon and welcome to Markets Today. I'm your host, Mbithe Mwema. It's Thursday, one more day before the week ends. But in as much as we're coming to the weekend, it's been a relatively short week on the NSE. 4 trading weeks as the country closed on Tuesday to celebrate Mashujaa. After Mashujaa Day, yesterday, the stock was actually up, the NSE in terms of turnover, with a jump in turnover which was up 39% to 250 million. We'll give you the statistics in as far as who was trading what were the foreigners doing, and who were the top movers in as far as volume, turnover, as well as price are concerned. Let's take a look at the equity turnover for yesterday and to understand what was the trend yesterday by the local as well as the foreign investors. We have been tracking the daily turnover on a day-to-day basis, and this chart just effectively shows you what was happening over the last 5 days. 250 million was the value that was traded yesterday on the NSE. By value, we're taking all the number of shares that were traded multiplied by the respective prices to get a cumulative turnover of 250 million. We're normally looking at what are the foreigners doing. Typically, they are 65% to 70% of the market. What they do, whether they are buying or selling, is normally very important for you to keep tabs on, at least if you want to understand the daily trading dynamics of the NSE. Yesterday, 250 million, 77% of that was sales by the foreign investors, whereas 59% was the purchases from the investors. The same cohort were overall net sellers out of the exchange, and we have seen this trajectory over the last 2 weeks. From the commencement of October, foreign investors have been slowly selling out of key stocks, taking a bit of profit on Safaricom, which has been trading over 30 shillings per share. We've also seen profit taking on Equity Bank as well as KCB. Let's take a look at who the top movers were by virtue of equity turnover. Safaricom, as always, was dominant in terms of activity yesterday, trading 6.7 million shares at an average price of 30.25 to get a cumulative turnover of 202 million traded over the day. East African breweries, we've seen weakness there. The price is now at 160 shillings per share, with 122,400 shares traded for a cumulative turnover of 19.5 million shillings. Equity Group closed the day at 34.55 with a cumulative turnover of the day of 11.5 million shillings. Centum yesterday also seeing a bit of traction, especially from the foreigners. That was the case yesterday, was the case Monday, is also the case today. At 18.5, 294,500 shares were traded at a turnover of 5.4 million. KCB Group, also a bit of weakness at a price of 37.1, so 59,200 shares traded over the day. Just before we came to the set today, we did see Centum dominant trade. We will keep you posted in terms of the direction of the trade, but from the beginning of the week, it's been largely dominated by foreign investors on the buy as well as on the sell side. Let's take a look at who the movers were by virtue of volume. Top movers, Safaricom traded 6.6 million shares over the day. Kenya Power, 775,000 shares traded. Equity Group, 331,000 shares traded. Centum was also up there, 294, as well as 203,900 traded for APSA. What was the price performance yesterday on the NSE? Who were the top gainers? Who were the top losers? Let's take a look at what was happening on price movement. Standard Group, small caps again dominating activity, has been the trend for the better part of this week. We saw the stock gain 9.94 percentage points on little volumes to close the day at 19.9. Home Africa, always on our charts, oscillating up and down, up one day, down the other day. Yesterday it was up 7.69 percentage points on negligible volumes to close the day at 0.42. Kabasi gained 5.7 percentage points to close the day at 8.88. We also had a bit of a jump on Nairobi Securities Exchange, and that's the platform that we use to have access to trading, buying or selling shares in Kenya. That particular stock was up 4.2 percentage points to close the day at 8.44 shillings per share. Kayan General also gained slightly up 4 percentage points to close at 25 shillings per share. Let's take a look at who the worst performers were for the day yesterday. We have there our list, again dominated by the small caps with the exception of Cooperative Bank. Eveready was down 6 percentage points to close the day at 0.91 shillings per share. Olympia Capital was also down. I think the key ones that stood out for us over the day were Standard Chartered Bank, which lost ground 3.76 percentage points to close at 153.5. Cooperative Bank also lost ground yesterday, down 3.38 percentage points to close at 11.545 shillings per share. We keep tracking the banking sector, largely because third quarter is closed. That ended September 30th. And anytime between now and 15th of November or halfway through November, we are looking out for Tier 1 as well as Tier 2 financials to get a sense what is happening with the banks. The key thing for the banks at this point in time, you are cautiously trading these particular stocks. Why, you might ask? Because the banks have been going through a bad economy, non-performing loans have become a dominant mainstay for the sector. But the fact that the second quarter numbers are out, 5.7% drop in growth, that's the last number that we saw. We want to understand what this could have in terms of an impact on the bottom line for the banks. We are looking out for the banks trading cautiously in as much as they are losing ground in as far as price is concerned. And we will get better view in terms of the NPLs once the full year numbers are out. That's next year, March. But I think we're looking out for the management expectations and management assessment of the economy and the impact on their books. October, nothing much is happening. Key thing we're waiting for is banks. Then in November, we're waiting for Safaricom results. So expectedly, we don't expect too much in terms of volumes, not too much in terms of corporate activity. When we take a break, we want to look at another investment opportunity that's available to you in Kenya. That's Mansa X. Mansa X gives you access to various opportunities across the globe, as well as access to various asset opportunities, whether it's shares, whether it's gold, whether it's precious metals, whether it's commodities. We have been tracking the performance of this particular fund for the last 1 year. Today, we are joined by Mr. Nahasha Mungai, who is an executive director at Standard Investment Bank, to unpack the third quarter performance of Mansa X. What would you like to know about this particular product? And do you have any questions in as far as investing in different asset classes are concerned? We invite you to tell us where you're watching from, as well as your name and your question. Our SMS line, that's 20146, or you could reach out to us on social media. That's at Metropole TV on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. You could also reach out to me. That's at Mbithe Moema on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. See you after the break.